My name's Kelly. I am a CBT therapist and forensic psychologist. Today I'm going to share with you a presentation on compassion focused therapy. So let's get into it.
So first of all, what do we mean by compassion? So when we think about compassion, it's a sensitivity to the suffering of self and others, is kind of how we engage with it. And this is the ability that we have to empathize, to be aware, to gauge with, and to understand and to approach suffering. And with this, it is a commitment to be able to try and relieve the suffering and to prevent it. And this is where the action comes from. So compassion is a verb. It's something we do. And often that when we are working in a field, we do continue doing training to support others. We need dedication and wisdom around this. And that is when we're thinking about CFT. That compassion is linked to two very different psychologies. As I said, the engagement and the action. So we aim to develop our ability to understand, to approach and engage with suffering and distress. We also want to approach with the desire and motivation to alleviate suffering, uproot its causes and seek to prevent suffering in the future. And that's with the dedication and wisdom. So with this, if we think about, so what are the basics of the model of compassion focused therapy? And when we can understand this, is that we have all evolved. The evolution has shaped our brain, and I'll be talking about that a bit more in the next slide. But also that we are biological. And in terms of thinking about this and with the social aspect, so CFT tries to understand suffering before alleviating. So we can suffer and we can struggle because we are an evolved being. And we can suffer and we can struggle because we are biological, gene-built creatures. And we can suffer and we can struggle because we are socially shaped. So let's think about that. Human beings haven't just turned up to the planet and have the bodies and minds that we do. We're the products of hundreds and millions of years of evolution. And if you can sometimes understand some of these evolutionary processes, you can be able to learn a lot about how some of the things that go on for us, that they're not our fault. We're all caught up in the flow of life, that we didn't choose any of this really. We have a mind and we have a body that is designed for us, but not by us. So whilst our minds are absolutely amazing and they do amazing things, they also can be in a bit of a mess. But actually, so many of the difficulties we face in life has to do with how the mind or how the brain is designed. It's got nothing to do with you as an individual. So due to evolution, we have two parts to our brain. We have the old brain, which has been around for millions of years. So it does basic things. It links to our basic motive. So, for example, we are to move away from danger. Then kind of things that maybe are useful for us, that we will compete for food, for shelter. And the old brain also increases certain capacities for emotional experiences, such as the basic emotions, anger, sadness, and it can motivate us to either fight, flee, or freeze. But with the new brain, this is a rapid expansion of our intelligence. It is linked to the prefrontal cortex. And within this, it's given us our ability to be able to imagine things and to be able to think about the past and future, ruminate over things, and the theory of mind. So being able to understand others around you. But the two parts interlink. And what happens in one part influences what happens in the other. But then we think about, again, with evolution. So think about with a lion and a zebra. So when a zebra sees a lion, it will run. But once the threat has died down, it will turn to food, kind of resume what it was doing before. And humans will react in the same way. But when the new brain kicks in, it starts to ruminate. So instead of just running away or the fight, flies, freeze, fawn, flop response, that new brain kicks in. We ruminate, we imagine the worst outcome, we monitor for threat. In short term, This is not likely to cause lots of harm. If this keeps happening, it's likely to actually cause us some distress. So let's think about the 3 systems model of emotions. So within this is really core to understanding CFT, compassion focused therapy. So the green system is good for us, but it's different from the other systems. So with the green system, it is about being able to keep ourselves safe, to be able to keep ourselves calm. It helps us to rest and digest. So thinking about linking in with the parasympathetic nervous system. And with this green system, it may be the feeling of feeling content, feeling calm, feeling peaceful. But this version of the system is really important in terms of evolutionary terms, because it takes a lot of calories to actually fight threats and to get resources. So this system evolved as that kind of low calorie or kind of low energy state to recuperate. And it's how a lot of animals actually use their time. But humans don't do this as well, arguably because our society doesn't really encourage rest. And with this, when we're thinking about with this zone, that enables us to connect and to reflect. So babies are able to regulate their own emotions and leave the threat system when they're cared for. But as adults, this doesn't go away. We still need care and nurture from those close to us, because we know this helps to regulate our systems. But it doesn't mean that we're all nurtured. It doesn't mean that our soothing system works the same in all of us. Our soothing systems and our learning systems, unfortunately, sometimes through no fault of our own, some of us have had little consistent care and nurture that is required to actually strengthen that soothing system in our lives. And the problem is this can have an impact upon us when we need to rely on our soothing system later, and how it can operate for us and how we can tap into it to regulate the threat. And then we have the red system. So this is the threat focus. This is where we kind of want to protect ourselves. We want to try and seek safety. And this can be when we are experiencing anger, when we are experiencing anxiety. And it can be really difficult to actually get us going, because we're just trying to protect ourselves. We're kind of hyper vigilant. We're trying to find safety, and we get stuck in there. And this can be particularly because if we've been in a life or in a world where we are under threat. And then if we look at the blue system, so this can be really about where we are trying to meet our goals or our needs. And it's really focused on being able to get the resources that we need. We kind of being incentivized to kind of meet those needs. And it can feel really exciting, and it can be really sometimes good to be in this. And all of these systems serve a purpose. It's not to say that any of them are bad, but it's when some of them are overworking. That's where the challenges can come. And with the blue system, it can be about wanting to, as I said, to pursue our goals, and it can really motivate us to get where we want to be. So really with this, it's about seeing the different systems for what they are. So something I like to do is with people is to draw out their systems. You can draw out the blue, the green, and the red, and you can kind of show how big you think all of those different ones are. You may want to kind of put in maybe activities or things that go on when you feel like you're in those systems. But for some people, it could be a massive red one, but a really, really small green one, and a moderately sized blue one. And with that, you would want to shrink that red, bring out that green. And being able to work with that can be a really good way, even with formulation, to understand where people are at. So with this, that is just a super easy, quick introduction to CFT. There are loads of things that you can look at and to understand. I highly recommend looking at Professor Paul Gilbert and Dr. Chris Irons. There are so many amazing resources that if you do want to learn more, please check out their website. There's loads of free downloads and things like that, and lots of training and things that often come up. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and let me know anything else you'd like me to cover next time. Thank you and take care.